Thanks for joining us on ntTV News at noon. I'm Gabby Cardin. We begin with a breaking news story of a school shooting here in North Texas. Our reporter Michaela Goose has more.
Thanks, Gabby. Here's what we know about the Timberview High School shooting in Mansfield, Texas that occurred just a few hours ago. Police officers have said that so far at least 4 students are confirmed injured, and we have footage from inside the building. This is an unconfirmed video, but we want to warn viewers that the images may be disturbing. Multiple ambulances have been seen outside of the campus, and sources say that there are several confirmed injured, one of which may have been a teacher. The Assistant Chief of Police of Arlington, Kevin Colby, had this to say.
We do have a suspect who's identified, okay? What we believe happened preliminary is that there was a fight between a student and another individual in a class, and a gun was used, and there are 4 victims. I'm here to identify a person of interest right now is Timothy George Simpkins. It's Simpkins. He is a black male, 18 years of age. We have a car that he is currently driving, or we believe is driving, is a 2018 silver Dodge Charger. License plate P as in Paul, F as in Frank, Y as in Yankee, 6260. We currently have multiple agencies, including the U.S. Marshals Task Force, that is looking for this individual.
Once again, police are looking for this man, 18-year-old Timothy George Simpkins, who is possibly driving a 2018 silver Dodge Charger, and that license plate is PFY 6260. Parents and family are being asked to go to 1110 West Debbie to be reunited with their children. And students, Mansfield ISD has officially issued an all clear, but this is an ongoing situation, and we will continue to update you with any information tonight on our 6 p.m. nightly show.
Thank you, Michaela. 2 Amber Alerts continue to be investigated. The Lubbock County Sheriff's Office search for 6-year-old Adeline Hazel Carter is underway in relation to yesterday's Amber Alert. Law enforcement are looking for 23-year-old Michael Luitgens in connection to her disappearance and believe that the child is in grave or immediate danger. If you have any information on this abduction, call the Lubbock Sheriff's Office using the number on the screen. And another Amber Alert was issued for missing 13-year-old Leilana Graham of Houston, who the FBI believe is in grave and immediate danger. Authorities are looking for Shaw Kendrick Smith in connection to this abduction. The families of murder victim Gabby Petito and her missing fiancé, Brian Laundrie, have now spoken out about Laundrie's disappearance. CNN's Leila Santiago reports.
Today marks 3 weeks since Gabby Petito's fiancé, Brian Laundrie, has been missing, according to his parents. His sister Cassie speaking, insisting she has no idea where her brother is.
No, I do not know where Brian is. I'd turn him in.
She also expressed a range of emotions, feeling worried about him, but also angry.
I would tell my brother to just come forward and get us out of this horrible mess.
Monday, Cassie also revealing to protesters staked outside her home that Brian flew home on August 17th, just 5 days after that fight he and Gabby had in Moab, Utah. The attorney for Laundrie's parents confirming in a statement to CNN that Laundrie flew home the 17th and returned to Utah on August 23rd to rejoin Gabby, and that, quote, Brian flew home to obtain some items and empty and close the storage unit to save money as they contemplated extending the road trip. Cassie says she saw Brian during that August 17th trip, but she says the last time she saw her brother was when he went camping with his parents at Fort DeSoto Park on September 6th, and there was no discussion about Gabby.
We just went for a couple of hours and we ate dinner and had s'mores around the campfire and left, and there was nothing peculiar about it. There was no feeling of grand goodbye. There was nothing.
Today, Gabby's parents and step-parents speaking out on Dr. Phil's show, saying they believe Brian is definitely alive and in hiding.
He's a coward. Anyone that lived in that house is a coward.
According to the police, Brian Laundrie's parents claim they last saw him on September 14th. They reported him missing 3 days later. When asked about her parents' involvement, Cassie told ABC,
I don't know if my parents are involved. I think if they are, then they should come clean.
Cassie says this is tearing her family apart, and it's not easy watching police question her brother and Gabby after a 911 caller reported their fight.
It's definitely painful to see everybody just be upset. It was pretty typical of them to argue and try and take space from each other, but people saying that they saw public domestic violence, I've never seen anything like that from either of them.
The search for Brian Laundrie goes on as authorities continue to investigate any leads, and we can only hope that we get updates as soon as we can. Moving on, I'm sure most of y'all want to know when these fall temperatures are finally going to stay consistent. Lexi, what can we expect?
Thanks, Gabby. Now it is feeling a bit like fall out now that we are experiencing cooler temperatures. And taking a first look, it is currently 72 degrees with a wind speed of about 3 miles per hour. And we are having a sunny day out. Looking into tonight's conditions, it is going to get a little bit cooler. That temperature is going to be dropping down to 61 degrees, and we are going to be experiencing a wind speed of 5 miles per hour, making it feel just a little bit cooler at 55 degrees, and we are expected to have a clear evening. Going into tomorrow's conditions, it is going to be a little bit warmer. It's going to be jumping back up to 91 degrees with a wind speed of about 10 miles per hour, and we are expected to have a sunny day out tomorrow. That's all I have for our first look. Stay tuned later on in the show for more weather updates. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Lexi. On top of watching out for the changing weather, everyone should continue to take precautions with COVID-19. One way you can do that is by getting a vaccine with Big Tex. Yes, you heard me right. The Dallas County Health and Human Services are offering free vaccines at Big Tex Circle from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. available for all 24 days of the state fair. Regardless of your vaccination status, you should still bring a face covering. And in case you do forget your face covering, the fair will have masks available for when you enter the gate. Always practice social distancing and wash your hands frequently while you're at the fair. And remember, if you feel sick or you think you might have been in contact with someone who has had the coronavirus, you should get tested and stay home. If not, have a safe and fun time at the fair. While we aren't out of the woods yet with the COVID-19 pandemic, recent studies show that cases are trending down as our vaccination numbers go up. Daryl Forbes, CNN, has more information for you.
COVID cases across the country going in the right direction, downward. Johns Hopkins University data shows the 7-day average of deaths is down 12% compared to last week. The 7-day average of new cases also declining. Health experts say now is not the time to let up on the virus.
The reality is we still have a lot of cases, a lot of hospitalizations, a lot of deaths.
We still have so many people who are not vaccinated that we better be careful that we don't say we're out of the woods.
On the vaccine front, Johnson & Johnson has asked the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to authorize booster shots for its coronavirus vaccine. The FDA's vaccine committee is scheduled to meet October 14th and 15th to consider booster requests from both J&J and Moderna.
If we bring transmission down, it would also help reduce infections. But the reality is these vaccines are not going to be 100% effective in preventing infection.
A new report by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services shows vaccinations prevented at least 250,000 COVID-19 infections among seniors and tens of thousands of deaths just between January and May of this year. The report from 48 states except Texas and Hawaii also estimates a reduction of 29,000 infections and nearly 4,600 deaths among Black Medicare beneficiaries and a similar number among Hispanic beneficiaries. I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
If you haven't received your vaccine yet, there are still clinics and other resources available for you in the Denton area. Coming up after the break, find out how local organizations and hospitals are helping women for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And later, see why 7 train passengers will be suing Amtrak. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and local organizations and hospitals are teaming up together to make sure women can get all the resources they need when dealing with cancer. Parkland Hospital is giving out free mammograms to those who qualify. Participants must be 35 years of age, been a year since their last mammogram, and be a Dallas resident. If you aren't a Dallas resident, don't worry, many hospitals in the area are offering mammograms as well. Russia is ready to be the first country to film a movie in space, apparently an accomplishment that Tom Cruise is striving for as well. CNN's Julia Chatterley has the story.
It's the final frontier of filmmaking and a first for one lucky star who will feature in the first movie made in the stars. It seems like a role custom-made for actor Tom Cruise, known for his gravity-defying stunts like hanging off the side of a plane or scaling the world's tallest building. Last year, NASA said it was planning to make a movie with Cruise on the International Space Station. But the winner of this space race is Moscow over Hollywood. Russian actress Yulia Peresild lifts off Tuesday in a Soyuz spacecraft to travel to the International Space Station in what could be one of the most unusual commutes ever to a movie set.
I'm not afraid of anything. I just really want us to make a good movie. And I really want our health, which, as it turns out to be generally good, to not let us down.
The lead actress will be accompanied into space by her director. Both had to learn not only their screen parts, but work with professional cosmonauts for months, undergoing weightlessness training with a backup crew, as well as centrifuge tests and parachute drills.
During this time, they really tortured us. They didn't beat us up, though, but made us memorize a lot of unknown abbreviations and squeezed us completely.
The two will spend 12 days filming on the space station. Cosmonauts on the ISS will also appear in the movie, which is currently titled The Challenge. And that is what the actress says she expects the experience to be, as she and her colleague will have to play multiple roles.
Since he will have to be a camera operator, director, and a lighting engineer, I will have to be a makeup artist, costume designer, and an actress.
Fans will have to judge if the film becomes an international blockbuster, but its out-of-this-world location already makes it a groundbreaking movie.
Now, I don't know how much I can tell y'all about the weather up in space, but our weather anchor Lexi Flores can tell you what you need to know as far as temperatures down here on Earth. What do you have for us?
Thanks, Gabby. Now, I might have to do a little bit more research if I'm going to tell you about the weather in space. So let's take a look at our North Texas area. We all seem to be experiencing similar temperatures, sitting in those upper 60s and going into those lower 70s. Taking a look across the state of Texas, everyone is getting a little bit cooler and it's feeling a little bit more like fall out in Texas. We have El Paso sitting at 72 degrees and we have Austin getting even cooler at 67 degrees. Now, taking a look at our 7-day forecast, we are expected to have a sunny week ahead of us. We have our higher temperatures sitting in those lower 90s, and our lower temperatures are getting down into the 60s. We do see a 20% chance of rain on Sunday and then again on Tuesday, but the rain doesn't look like it's going to stop any fun events from happening throughout this week. That's all I have for weather today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Lexi. We have more information on the potential cause of the catastrophic California oil spill that shut down beaches and threatened local wildlife. The cause, a boat anchor from a nearby ship that caused a 13-inch tear in the pipeline. Rick Montanez, KCAL, has the story.
The strongest working theory right now for the massive oil spill off the Orange County coast is whether a ship's anchor somehow damaged the pipeline in question. At today's news conference, an explanation of the underwater damage discovered so far.
It's been laterally displaced by 105 feet. So that's what we know about the pipeline. That was determined by a remotely operated vehicle.
Over at the Maritime Exchange of Southern California in San Pedro, all of the ships that come into the ports are monitored and instructed on specific anchorage locations. This is video from January when the Marine Exchange invited us in to see how it tracks the marine traffic. The executive director tells me the exchange operates much like air traffic control for airports. Calculations are made for ship speed, size, and water depth. And of course, what's below the surface.
Anchoring a ship is not a pinpoint evolution. You need to check to see if the general area is safe of all hazards when you're approaching your anchored spot.
Steve Brown is a professor of marine transportation at CSU Maritime Academy. He says ship captains have to carefully monitor charts for the waters where they need to drop anchor.
Obviously, there are pipelines. There are also phone cables, internet cables, electrical power cables.
Investigators must now look into whether that pipeline was in fact moved and damaged by a ship anchor or something else.
While the cause of the pipeline tear is being investigated, restoration efforts are still underway to clean up the beaches and wetlands affected by the spill. Several passengers from the Amtrak derailment last month are suing. Court documents allege negligence from Amtrak and the BNSF Railway. 3 people died and dozens were hurt when several train cars came off the tracks. The rail companies didn't comment on the new lawsuits. Amtrak did respond to another last week, stating that they are offering assistance to people who got hurt in the derailment and to families who lost loved ones. As UNT's student population continues to grow, UNT's horticulturists are trying to assure that the tree population grows at a similar pace. Our reporter David Castillo takes us to the grounds manager trying to make a greener UNT.
At the University of North Texas, campus groundskeepers are giving the university even more reason to pride itself when referred to as the Mean Green.
This is our 13th year of being awarded the Tree Campus USA award for the higher education. With that, it shows that UNT cares about our trees, so that we take our trees preservation and future very serious.
And while Kelly notes, typically students will notice the abundance of trees when they are seeking shade during those hot Texas summer days, he explains that there are other benefits the landscape is providing students.
It also provides better quality of life. You know, on one of those hard days when maybe a student has not done so well in school, you know, and they're very stressed. Being out in the landscaping, you know, helps relieve some of that stress, and it helps them mentally, kind of healing, you know, from that. And so trees are a major part of that landscaping.
Reporting for North Texas Television, I'm David Castillo.
Stay tuned, we'll tell you what Blaine Tatum has for sports.
When you park in front of the
Public school employees are losing their jobs for refusing to comply to New York City's COVID vaccine mandate. Mayor Bill de Blasio says that 95% of public school employees are vaccinated, an even higher percentage among just teachers. Unvaccinated employees are now protesting. CNN's Jessica Layton has more.
I refuse to get vaccinated.
Paraprofessional Stephanie Delaterris is feeling the consequences of refusing the shot firsthand.
My husband is a custodian, and we have both lost our jobs, and he has worked through the entire pandemic, cleaning every single COVID room. Now we're both out of work. We were essential last year, and now we're just zeros this year.
8,000 other Department of Education staff who won't get vaccinated feel her frustration.
I feel very insulted after years, over 7 years, I've been working as a teacher, and I really love my job. I did not want to leave, and I'm being forced to leave because of my choice.
Even before high school history teacher Stephanie Edmonds attempted to show up for work, she knew she'd be told to go home. She's been fighting the vaccine rule for weeks.
I did send in a lesson today for whoever's going to be in there to give out to the kids.
And although the mayor says close to 1,000 teachers who were holding out finally got their shots over the weekend, the city had thousands of vaccinated substitutes ready to step in Monday morning. But students at New Dorp High School on Staten Island will be missing 20 of their usual staff.
We have the largest village of dedicated adults prepared to step up for our young people.
The overwhelming majority, or 95% of DOE staff, are vaccinated. And at Lower Manhattan Community Middle School, the vaccination rate is 100%.
I'm really glad that this school year can continue to grow and be, somewhat normal, whatever normal is in a pandemic.
Those who won't follow the rules were all welcome at this rally. But others watching the protest, like this nurse, don't understand why they'd fight against something so hard that could ultimately keep them and their students alive.
For us to get back to any kind of normalcy, the vaccine to me is the way to go.
City officials say 11,000 substitute teachers are on standby should help be needed. If you haven't heard already, Allen ISD is under a cyber attack as hackers continue to demand a ransom. They hacked into the school district's system, then emailed staff, parents, and students stating they have 5 days to pay. After that, the payment will increase. The district has stated they have no intention of paying the hackers. We will keep you updated as this story develops. Let's hand it over to Blaine Tatum to give us the update on all things sports. Blaine?
That's right. The Cowboys are making some changes and the Mavericks are back on the court. I'll tell you more after.
It's that time of year where everyone plays a game.
Former Pro Bowl linebacker Jalen Smith. Smith was drafted by the Cowboys in 2016 and had just signed a 5-year, $64 million contract extension in 2019. He has not started a game this year as his position has been mainly filled by rookie phenom Micah Parsons. The Cowboys will be on the hook for over $7 million, but they felt that this was the right move due to the increased depth at the linebacker position. New defensive coordinator Dan Quinn has turned this defense around this season, and this is one of many changes he's made. We'll see if the Cowboys can continue their dominant defense this Sunday against the New York Giants. The Mean Green volleyball team is taking on 9th-ranked Baylor tonight at 6 p.m. UNT had been on a bit of a losing streak after a tough loss to Rice, but after back-to-back wins against La Tech this past weekend, the team is looking to keep that momentum up. Senior Rhett Robinson has been on a hot streak over the last few games and is leading the conference in kills. The Mean Green and the Baylor Bears have met 36 times in program history, and Baylor leads the series 24-12. If you want to see if they can make it 24-13, you can tune in on CUSA TV, the Mean Green Sports YouTube, or go to the Mean Green Village and cheer them on in person. But while we wait for some more Mean Green basketball to start back up, we have the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks play their first preseason game against the Utah Jazz at the American Airlines Center tonight. This will be the first time we get to see the Mavs under their new head coach, Jason Kidd. They had a quiet offseason, but they picked up the few pieces they say they needed to complete their teams. Both teams were in the NBA playoffs last year, so hopefully in for a good game tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing if Kristaps Porzingis is healthy and hopefully a little bit of Luka magic. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. That's all I've got for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Blaine. The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is happening now, but there are going to be new restrictions this year. Organizers of the event are ramping up security in expectance of thousands of visitors. Guests will now have to go through a metal detector and have their bags searched upon entry. Glass bottles and alcohol will be prohibited from the grounds. Balloon enthusiasts may enjoy the event for 9 full days. That's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to stay tuned on next week's ntTV coverage of the State Fair and join us again tonight for ntTV Nightly News at 6.